Hi, I'm Nick Bolton, the founder of Animas Centre for Coaching. Now in this video I want to explore the pragmatic principle within transformative coaching. A principle that reminds us that insight alone isn't enough. Transformation ultimately needs to find its way into the real world through action, through experimentation, and through embodied change. Now when people hear the word pragmatic, they often imagine something quite prosaic, something practical, even utilitarian. Goal setting, checklists, action plans. And whilst pragmatism certainly can and does acknowledge the importance of doing things like that, the pragmatic principle in transformative coaching is far more subtle and far more interesting than simply helping clients take action. At its heart, this principle recognizes that human transformation happens in two domains: the inner world of awareness and the outer world of lived experience. Coaching that focuses only on the inner world, on reflection, insight, and meaning, risks becoming kind of abstract. Whereas coaching that focuses only on the outer world, on tasks and strategies, risks becoming entirely utilitarian. The pragmatic principle is what bridges the two. It invites the client to take what they've discovered internally, the new perspective, the new possibilities, the shift in identity, and begin to test it, play with it. Live it in some small way in the world, not as performance, not as forced behavioral change, but as an authentic extension of who they're becoming. In transformative coaching, pragmatism is not about driving the client towards action. It's about noticing when something wants to shift and become real. It's about sensing when an inner shift is ready to be lived more fully, and then gently inviting the client to consider what it might look like to embody that shift. Sometimes this can take the form of a small experiment, a conversation, a boundary, a new way of showing up in a familiar situation. Other times it's more subtle, a different stance, a clearer choice, a softened assumption. Pragmatic coaching doesn't insist on big leaps. It's honoring the fact that transformation often expresses itself first in small, meaningful movements. This principle also recognizes that action is one of the fastest ways to deepen insight. We don't just think our way into a new way of being, we act our way into new ways of being. We discover more about ourselves through doing. We learn what fits, what doesn't, where resistance lies, and where energy flows. The world becomes a kind of reflective surface that continues the coaching process long after the session ends. The pragmatic principle is also deeply respectful of the client's autonomy. It doesn't prescribe action. It doesn't set targets. Instead, it invites the client to explore what feels aligned, what feels possible, what feels true for them. The client chooses the action, not because the coach suggests it, that would certainly not happen, or even that they elicit it through questions, but because it naturally arises from their evolving sense of self. And importantly, pragmatism holds action lightly. It doesn't turn it into pressure or performance. It doesn't measure progress through productivity. It sees action as an extension of awareness, a way of integrating insight. This is why the pragmatic principle is inseparable from other principles of transformative coaching. Without emergence, we'd be forcing action. Without unknowing, we would be directing it or eliciting it in some specific way that we believe is right. Without the relational principle, clients wouldn't feel safe enough to try something new. Without the phenomenological principle, we'd miss the lived experience behind the action. And without the paradigmatic principle, we'd be addressing behavior without addressing the worldview that shapes it. So pragmatism in the transformative sense isn't a bolt-on at the end of the session, a what are you going to do? It's a gentle flowing movement from inner knowing to outer expression. It's the recognition that transformation becomes real when it enters the world. And it's an invitation to the client to step into who they're becoming, not dramatically or not perfectly, but authentically. One choice, one step, one way at a time. In essence, the pragmatic principle says this: insight opens the door, but action walks through it. And in that walking, we discover who we are. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.